Rockport, Maine. And that got canceled. And then the Occidental American Amicable, we were supposed to leave for Athens, Greece on June 14th. That got canceled. And then we got a call from some of our friends and like, hey, they're super discounted right now. You can just drive right over. So we did it. Boom.
Nice.
So
obviously the HST trip got canceled, but my wife had
scheduled, right?
Yeah, rescheduled for was it August? October, yeah, something like
October.
That. But my wife had been planning this Disney trip for a year. Like she was all into it, listening to all the podcasts and what to do and buying the gift cards at Target, blah, 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 like getting all the rooms that we needed. And I think we're supposed to be there right now. We're supposed to be there right now at Disney for the first time with our kids, you know? But
yeah, I'm sorry, man. That stinks. Were you able to get refunds on stuff?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? We had actually won some Hopper tickets, like some group of Hopper tickets. So it means you can just go to any park you want. Sure. We had 2 sets, four tickets each, right? And we had to use them by November or else they were going to expire. So Mary calls and she's like, you know, what can we do about these Hopper tickets? She's like, you know what? We'll just make them good for next time. And
nice.
She's like, and they're like, they're good for 10 years. They made them good for 10 years. Yeah. So.
I thought Our Lady did good on the rental. She gave us till the end of next year. And then airfare, I had paid for my airfare and had American Amicable send me the money. And I got a full refund on the airfare. So I just used that refund and just paid for this.
Nice, man. That's fantastic. So, we're gonna give everybody like another minute or two.
Cool. Okay. All of a sudden there's like this commotion right out front of my place. And
perfect timing.
Yeah, right? Hold on 1 second for me.
Yeah.
It was a valiant effort. I could not have done any better.
I'm not the best. Hi, Carlos. Hi, Dan.
Hey, Laura. How you doing?
Good. It's a beautiful day.
It is. I haven't. It was beautiful when I was out there in the morning, but I haven't stepped out since.
And hello, everyone.
Okay, you're back.
I am.
All right.
Mr. Mack, how are you, sir? I think you're muted, actually.
You there, Dan? Unmute yourself. There you go. You muted yourself again on accident, I think. Double click.
I just unmuted you.
Thank you.
I got that kind of power.
How you doing, boss?
It's getting in my head.
So let's just get started, guys. Man, we have a few participants in here. Those of you guys who don't know, JR, like you know how I like to start off these things, man. Like I like for people to get to know you, because we're gonna try to sell them on what CBS is all about and why they should be selling this product, right? So introduce yourself to them. Tell us, you know, where you came from, maybe what you used to do before insurance and how you got to this point.
Right. So ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? JR Jordan. I actually had a PowerPoint presentation, all this kind of stuff that I can use if you want, but if you just want to do it freestyle, I'm totally cool with that.
Freestyle, man.
Nice, a lot easier. So people that are going to be walking by me right now are thinking, oh my God, what is this weirdo doing right now?
You're gonna start dancing and jumping around, man.
I'll be honest with you. I'm in a cool place right now with the family. We are in Newport Beach. So we're hanging out. We're hanging out here for the next month. There is the beach right there, and our kids are doing homeschooling in the morning, and I'm doing work, and then we're doing the beach in the afternoon, which is pretty cool. So about myself. Insurance, just like all of you, has been my life. I've been doing it personally for Gosh, 20, it looks like 23 years now, maybe about 24 years, but people joke that I was, obviously I was born into insurance. My grandfather was insurance. My father was in insurance, and not only was he insurance, and I'm going to do in-depth today, Carlos, because I don't think
That's
I've done
fine.
an in-depth in a
Let's
long
do it.
time. I used to do them in the early days. But, you know, my father got in the insurance industry after Vietnam. So he was an officer. He went to officers candidate school. He went to Vietnam. He was a first lieutenant, 2 Bronze Stars, a Silver Star, the Order of St. Maurice. You know, he was a modern day Rambo, right? That couldn't read or write. I mean, he couldn't, you know.
I don't think
I
Rambo
always
couldn't
like,
either. I don't think.
I always like to joke around. His senior year in high school, the only reason he graduated English and graduated high school is because he spent a lot of time at his English teacher's house, and that is true. So thank goodness she passed him. And so he went to Vietnam, and he came out of Vietnam, and he was there for you know, like a couple tours. And first job he got was as a security guard at a mall, and they gave him a gun. He didn't want to have another gun. Couldn't do it. Second job he got, it was as a repo man. And my dad was just cool. He was the nicest guy. He was also a hard ass, don't get me wrong. But his very first night, he was able to find the very first car. And he had a partner. And so he walked up, knocked on the door, and said, listen. And the wife and the kids came to the door, blah, blah, blah. My dad said, this is my first night ever doing this. So if I can find your house, the next crew they send out, if I can find your car, the next crew they send out here is definitely going to find your car. Go hide the car. He looked at the other guy, said, don't tell a word, I quit. And my dad never went back to that job again.
That's funny.
So he got into, believe it or not, he got into life insurance sales. And he started in the debit world in South Florida, selling policies for nickels, dimes, and quarters. Not kidding. That's how much they cost. Nickels, dimes, and quarters for burial policies, right? So it was the debit world. So what you would do is you'd walk around, you'd go door to door, you would carry this bag, you'd collect all the nickels, dimes, and quarters, you zip it up, put a little lock on it, you drop it off to Southern Life and Health Insurance Company down in South Florida, his office, and then they would send it into the home office. And that's what he did. He knew that he needed more education. He knew that, you know, back then they didn't have everything that we're offered today. Like you can go on the Health Insurance Hub and you can learn more about insurance. There's more than you could ever have enough time to learn about insurance. There's resources for every single thing you need. Back then was a little bit different. He knew that if you got a CLU, a Chartered Life Underwriting Designation, that he would have some clout, let's say. The guys over at Southern Life and Health told him that if he got that, he would be able to advance corporately in their company. So he got his CLU, and corporately they kind of said F you and didn't advance him to that next level. So I remember he left there, and for many years after that, we had these, they had a deal where they had Band-Aids they'd hand out, Southern Life and Guaranteed Band-Aids. We had boxes of them in our garage. I guess my dad got so mad, he just took anything that was in sight when he left that day. So we had boxes of these Band-Aids. But he went from that to the world of health insurance. He was so sick and tired of talking to people about death all the time. Death. He said it was a real hard sale for him. So he got into the health insurance market. And for those of you that know the history of like the big titans in the game, he went to work for a guy named Keith Wood. Love him or hate him, Keith Wood was one of the largest titans in the industry. Then his brother, Paul Wood, who you all might know, who owns Team Corp, who's one of my best friends in the world, magnificent gentleman. I look at him as like a hero and scholar or mentor, all that kind of stuff. My dad did some business with him, and then he eventually caught on. You know, when I say do business, ladies and gentlemen, he drove and knocked on doors and drove hundreds of miles and stayed in motels and hotels, and he would not come home. My mom would tell me stories. If he had a goal that day, he wouldn't come home till he hit the goal. He just would not come home. He didn't care. I mean, he's feeding a family. He had little kids. He had 3 mouths to feed. when him and his partner, a guy named Bob, they got really big with Peter Nauert. If you know the name, the Nauert family, Heather Nauert was on Fox and Friends. She worked for the State Department. And then Jennifer Nauert, she was on Good Morning America back in the day. Well, Peter Nauert, you can look him up online. He wrote a lot of books, was really big in insurance. And he owned the Cirrus groups of company. He owned huge companies, Conseco, at one point. I mean, he owned these huge insurance companies, and he owned the marketing companies. So he could eat on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
So my dad and this guy, Bob, became, you would call them AVPs, area vice presidents. And they drove around in a tricked out GMC van and just drove all over the Southwest, or excuse me, the Southeast, all over the Southeast. Their agents building. And then in 1987, he was actually promoted to executive vice president of a company called NGM National Group Marketing. And he had over 2,000 captive agents. And they were doing like $300 million a year in major medical premium. And it was the late great 80s. Commissions were 40, 50% health insurance. So imagine selling somebody a plan that's $15K. Well, back then, a $5,000 annual premium. You just made $2,500 that day, right then. Some companies let you get a commission, have the client write a check to you. It was crazy, ladies and gentlemen. People without high school degrees were making 6 figures a month because they were selling health insurance, and they had a whole bunch of health insurance agents underneath them. And so my father was able to build this huge group. And it's funny, he went from nickels, dimes, and quarters to doing hundreds of millions a year in major medical premium. But Hillary scare happened. He was 40 years old, and Bill Clinton came in office, and they said that Hillary was going to make insurance socialized. Mm-hmm. It's called Hillary scare.
Yep.
And so my dad and Peter had their falling out. They became best friends again. Don't worry. Before they actually both passed away from cancer. This is crazy, but the story is good. It has its ups and downs. Yeah. But he retired at the age of 40, I like to say, for about 40 seconds because he was a worker. He's never going to retire. And then we went into the restaurant industry, and we found out that everyone steals everything from you. So I just want you to know that if you're planning on opening a restaurant.
I just heard that somewhere on the show. Like
everyone will steal everything. Yeah. Okay? One of your friends will come up to you and be like, dude, I'm having a barbecue this weekend. Come over. And you go over there, and he's grilling up meats that he took from your walk-in. And, there's Philly cheesesteaks, and all the bread and hoagies are yours.
Why do you have my napkins, John?
Yeah, right. We had chicken wing restaurants in Arizona. We were the first family to franchise them. And I'd go to we served them on metal plates. You go to my friend's houses, my brother's friend's house, all their apartments were filled with our metal plates. It's like, we're kind of doing this to make some money. Anyway, we got out of that, and my father had been doing a whole bunch of research on critical care insurance. It was called dread disease insurance. Terrible name, just terrible name. And he was working with a guy named Tony Boston out of the UK. And the guy said something like, I've been waiting for some dumb American to call me on this. As we all know, critical illness today, everybody knows about it. At least if you're a successful insurance agent in the U65 market, you know about it and you sell it, and one of your clients has had one, and, you've been involved in a claim process. Back then, nobody believed in it. Nobody believed it was true. What? If you have a heart attack, you get a check? If you get cancer, nobody believed it was true. They did not believe it was true. And nobody thought you could make any money selling something for $20, $30 a month. So we started going. I want to say he contacted 3 insurance companies, one of them being Peter Nauert. Peter offered a fantastic monthly amount that he would pay my dad and my brother. And my brother almost jumped at it. And when my dad told him after you net out all expenses that they were going to owe Peter money, They decided not to go that route. They went to another company, and they did it, and they put it on a health insurance chassis. So every time somebody bought health insurance, they could check a box and they could get critical care. What happens is back then, it was standard underwriting for medical insurance. So some companies would decline as much as 30% of the business that came in the door. As long as you're approving about 70% or so, you can stay profitable if you have good underwriters. So if you submitted 100 CI apps on medical chassis and 30 of them are going to get declined, that sucks. So we got a company out of Colorado that agreed that they put it on a life chassis for us. And they agreed that we would be the exclusive marketers of the product, and we're given their name as the only company since 1972. So the name of the company, unfortunately, today doesn't have a very positive connotation because of somebody that bought it and took some money. But the company back then was Colorado Bankers Life Insurance Company, and we developed the Colorado Bankers Lifer, the critical illness plan. It was called the Lifestyle Protector, the Timber Ridge series, and a lot of agents sold it over a lot of period of time. And it was a front-loaded product. So a lot of people made a huge amount of money. Over the last 20 years, there was tens and tens of millions of dollars made in the last 20 years from agents selling the Colorado Bankers Lifestyle Protector. Maybe even a lot more than that. I don't know. It was a very, very good run. Unfortunately, that company was purchased by a gentleman that decided to do some unscrupulous things. If you have some time, look up Greg Lindbergh. And for any of you that want to know, that are asking in case, yes, all of my earned, the entire block that we built for 20 plus years, we're not getting paid a single dollar. It happened to us too. So I woke up one morning in, I want to say, June of last year with a call from our attorney letting us know that no more commissions would be coming in from CB Life. And it was 20 plus years of my life. And it was money that I thought was going to take care of my kid, everything, right? And it's not to say it won't get paid. It might get paid. They're in rehabilitation. They're not in receivership. They're selling off all those dudes' assets to pay back. So who knows? Maybe it's going to, but you know what? I probably cried for a day and a half, probably drank too much vodka for that day and a half, and some other things, maybe, I don't know, maybe not, allegedly. And then honestly, I went back to work. I went back to work in a big way. We not only, we do a lot of stuff with VBA, as you know, Value Benefits of America. That's another product that we launched because we're like Sweden. We want to work with all the health insurance companies. Do your health thing. Short-term medical and health insurance, do that. Let us do accident and critical illness because that's what we're really, really good at, and our products are good. So we developed the Value Benefits of America plan, the VBA accident plan, maybe 15, 18 years ago. I own it, and I'll tell you how we launched it. So, in fact, I'll go back a little bit. I apologize. So when we launched the critical illness plan, ladies and gentlemen, I helped them put together the very brochure, and then I asked for a job, and they offered me one in the supply room. So I took a job in the supply room, making like $7.50 an hour, killing it, loved it. I was trying to go to community college at the same time. I saw the way my brother and my dad worked, and I'm very envious. And I remember putting these brochures together all the time and sending them out all day long, just mailing everything all day long. Supply room was the most important part of any insurance operation back in the day, because if you sent out the wrong disclosure, the wrong form, they had to redo the entire app. I mean, the supply room was the lifeblood of insurance companies, insurance marketing companies back then. So after I learned how to do it, I started reading these brochures. Like, what is this stuff that all these agents keep calling and all these marketers keep sending out? What are these policies? And I fell in love, critical illness insurance. Pays you a lump sum upon diagnosis. Use the money for whatever you want. I mean, like, wow, this is real? So I had to get licensed. I passed my insurance exam with a 70%. Might have failed it prior to that. but I did pass it with a 70%. I might have actually failed it with a 69% the day before. Oh my God. But passed it, and I started learning as much as possible. And then I was given a stack of robo-dialed leads and told to go sell. And it told if I could go sell insurance myself. My dad was hardcore, ladies and gentlemen. I was told that if I could sell insurance myself, then I would give the honor to talk to agents on the phone and tell them how to sell. And I totally got it. He wanted me to learn supplies. He wanted me to learn sales. He wanted me to learn leads. He wanted me to learn every single facet. So I have these robo-dialed leads, right? And I make some appointments. And I had 3 appointments maybe for the next day. And I got Porsched on all of them. Stood up on all 3 appointments. And I was sitting at a Circle K in Cave Creek, Arizona, like, what do I do? WTF, if you know what I mean. And I was in my Nissan Sentra, 1992 Nissan Sentra. It had a spoiler on the back of it. I thought it was cool. And I am looking at my book, and I'm looking at these sheets. And I remember my dad telling me stories about if back in the day, if somebody wasn't there, he would go to the house next door and be like, oh, I'm the insurance agent for so-and-so, the name on the lead. We had an appointment. Do you know where they went? You know, he'd just start just to get the conversation started, and then he'd try to sell them. So I'm like, I have these leads. I'm going to just either show up or start calling. So I called a guy. He was home. I'm like, I'm coming by him to talk to you about insurance. You just left a message. I didn't really give him an option. I had to do something. I was more scared of my dad than not, you know, than
getting rejected.
Yes. Yeah. Being rejected, not being confident in the call. And so I showed up at this guy's house, and he was in Cave Creek, which is a very, very prestigious, very rich area of Arizona. And he was in a house, on a mountain in Cave Creek. And I remember talking to him with this guy, and I shit you not, these stories, I should write a book. So I have 4 kids. 3 of them are right here going out the door right now. But I'm up there at this guy's house, and he starts talking to me about holistic healing. So you gotta understand, I'm like 19 years old. I'm in some strange dude's house in a mountain. He starts talking to me about holistic healing, which I know what it is a little bit. And then he asked me if I wanted to see the chamber, the holistic chamber he had in the basement. I'm like, no, not at all. Like, you know, obviously I didn't do it like that. Yeah. But so I said, what do you think about traditional medicine? And he started, oh, I'm sorry for all the background noise, ladies and gentlemen.
That's okay.
Hold on. So, hold on. Miss, will you grab that? And then, thanks, honey. So I knew he didn't like traditional medicine because he was in holistic healing. So I asked him if he had a medical insurance plan. And he said he did. He's like, I do. I think it had a $25,000 deductible. And I was like, wow. And I go, well, what happens, you know, if you have a heart attack, stroke, cancer, how much will they pay your holistic doctor? It was so loaded. And he goes, nothing. They won't pay anything, blah, blah. I have to go to a regular. I go, well, what if I had a plan in my briefcase that if you have a heart attack, stroke, cancer, and I went through this entire list that I've been sending out to agents for like 9 months. And so I knew it. And I said, what? And he goes, and he looked at me and goes, wow. And I go, what would you do with that money? Could you use it to pay your holistic doctor instead of going to the hospital? And he goes, oh yeah. And he looked at me and goes, how much does $200 a month buy me? How much does $200 a month buy me? Were his next words. So our rate book only went up to $100, and there was a $20 policy fee in it, annual. So if you just did 2 times the rate, it would be the wrong rate. But I don't care. I just did the 2 times the rate, and I said, listen, this is a couple bucks more. It's actually going to be cheaper than this because of the way the policy was built. And boom, I walked out the door. I had a sale. It was $200 a month. It was $2,400. And I remember at the time, our policies were selling for like $23, $24 a month. That was the average that people were buying. I mean, we all know the very first edition of the Colorado Bankers Lifestyle Protector was the most rich product ever. Like crazy. It was crazy rich. So after that, I show up. I mean, it was a cool day. I show up at a guy from Finland. He was a pastor with his wife in congregation. Finland is a country with socialized healthcare. So I start sitting down with him. Now you understand, I didn't have any health insurance plans in my briefcase. I had PGP, which is a over 65 final expense plan, and I had the LSP, what we called at the time, the Lifestyle Protector. And I just figured I was going to go with these two and fill needs, right? And so I'm sitting there talking to them, and they start talking about, they had no idea what they were moving here with our health insurance and the way any of that worked. And the easiest way I can explain it to them, I said, have you ever passed around a collection bowl for somebody in your congregation that had a heart attack, stroke, cancer? And they said, yeah. I'm like, so this policy, we're selling you, you're buying, so they don't have to do that for you. So that if one of these, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table, because that's what we had to do, if anything happens, one of these things happen, you're going to get a check for this month. If your wife happens, if she has the policy, she'll get a check. So boom, sold those two. Like, I'm on a roll. Then I drive over to Mesa, and it is a retirement living home. And I sell this nice lady. I sell her our PGP over 65. I called her. She wanted to talk to me so bad. She was so happy I was in the area, because she doesn't have a lot of visitors. I get done with the app, get done with everything. The son calls and starts drilling me with questions because he thought I was trying to scam his mom, who was giving me a check, right? And I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to scam your mom for like $40 a month. If I'm a scammer, I'm really bad at it. This isn't, I started going over everything with him. His wife had cancer, so I was able to sell another critical illness to him. So I left that day. I had done over 4,000. Winnie, come here. I had done over 4,000 in annual volume that day, and I called my dad and I said, I was like, this is what I did. Is it good? Because I didn't know. And he's like, he's like, do you know how much money you made today? And I didn't. I was given these leads. I made $750 an hour. I was told, you just passed your test, go do this. And he changed really quick. He goes, I mean, do you know how much money we made today as a company?
You made me.
Not you, JR. And I'm like, no. And he told me, I was like, wow. And he was like, you have two options at this point. You listen to me. You show up for work every day. I don't care if your friends are partying. I don't care if they're doing spring break. Kind of read me a riot act. And he goes, and if we fail, I will not bail you out. There's zero bailout. He goes, or I can give you a lead vendor, give you top contracts, and you can go out and start selling and make a whole bunch of money as an individual agent. And I was 19. I was like, you know what? I want to learn from my dad. We didn't have the best relationship growing up. That's probably going to be in the Hub 2.0 version where we talk about that.
Okay. Tears
come out. Yeah. So I honestly looked at it as a cool way to spend more time with my dad. And I saw what he did growing up. So that was the Lifestyle Protector. And then I started calling agents on the phone, smiling and dialing all day long, because I had to call 100 agents a day to give them a pitch on this critical illness plan to hope that they would sell it. And a lot of the times I would hear, that's not a real policy. That's not real. Like, what? This is real. It just pays you now instead of, there's actuarial tables for this, mortality, morbidity, they're blended. They would, some will, some won't, so what, move on, right?
Right.
And then I had the other people that, you can't make any money on $20 a month. That's all they would tell me. I don't care if it's 30, you can't make any money on it. And so I remember asking my brother to help me come up with an earnings example because I suck at math. And I started sending that out. People still wouldn't believe it. And I'm, persistence. Then we came out with Mike and Mark and General Agent Center, the Value Benefits of America Accident Plan. Which I own myself. I love it. I go around the nation talking about that plan too. To me, it is the best accident plan in the market. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but it's not a scheduled benefit plan. I could go on and on in days for that product, but how we launched it was rad. And ridiculous if you want to know how just cost effective my dad was, cheap, but just a good businessman. And I wish Mike Kleingartner was on this call, or my brother. But we had a fax machine where you could do up to 10 numbers at a time. So you could fax something out, it would fax 10 numbers at a time, and then it was all done. It would give you a report of what went through, what didn't go through. So we did a 4-page fax to all of our agents in our database. And the 4-page fax was really simple. The first page of it was the brochure of the VBA product. The second page was a 1-page contract. The third page was the W-2 or whatever, W-9.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth page was the application for the product, because it's a guaranteed acceptance plan. It's a simple paper app. So it was 4 pages. No, it was actually 6, sorry. Then the contract for the agent, okay? So a total, the commission addendum. So maybe it was 5 pages, blah, blah. Well, anyway, for about 3 or 4 months, my dad would walk from where he was at or where we were working on things. He would grab the list of numbers, walk over to the fax machine, type in 10, put it in, and they would go. And then at the same time, we were calling all the agents. No email, we weren't doing email blasts, we weren't doing anything like that. It was straight up a fax blast, limited to 10 at a time. We sent it out to thousands of agents, along with us calling all of them. And I remember we started doing so much business on that product. I mean, we were up to 5,000 apps a month in no time. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of IMOs or GAs or people that have business for a long time. They'll try to pump up their numbers and tell you, oh, we're doing 2,000 apps a week. We're doing, you know, back in the day, we hit 5,000 apps a month, and it was a huge number for those plans. So it was a lot of fun. And for the past 20-something years, I've dedicated all of my professional time, basically, I would say 85% of my professional time on insurance, critical illness, accident insurance, why and how to sell it with major medical insurance, help people. It helps me a lot too. And, you know, like I said, you know, my kids know a couple things. I wish they were here right now. I would have them say it. People that talk about money don't have any, all right? Flat out. Any of my kids right now, if they start talking too much about this or materialistic stuff or this shit or Mr. Beast or whatever they saw that's giving away money or blah, 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 blah. If they start talking about it, I'll look right at them and go, people that talk about money and they respond don't have any. And in addition to that, persistence is key. You have to be persistent. You have to wake up every day with a passion and a plan. Just because you're passionate doesn't mean you're going to succeed. And if you have a plan without passion, no shit's going to work for you, right? So you have to be passionate and you have to have a plan. And I have that. And I have it's awesome. I get to work with my brother, sister, and people on my team that have been there for a long time. You know, I mean, I still feel like a 22-year-old kid, and I have a wonderful person on my staff that's been with me for like 17 years.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
So the persistence thing, though, you know, I had found out, maybe just want to make sure my dog went inside and didn't like run to the beach without me, which is possible. Oh, there he is. Okay. So the persistence thing, you know, look up Greg Lindbergh and what happened with Colorado Banker's Life, because, you know, back in June, they stopped our commission payments. And luckily we had transitioned already to Occidental a couple years prior to that. With a very large IMO that we transitioned and did a ton of Occidental. Occidental is it's taking off a big way because we have the critical illness plan, the term made simple, and we also have the senior choice with them. There's also we're doing a contest, by the way, that we're about to launch to all of you on that. It's going to be really good per app bonus money. But we'll get you to that when that's ready. I think that's going to be sent out this week, actually.
JR, I want to do this. For a lot of the folks that are out here, like they just don't have the mindset of offering critical illness insurance to their
right.
folks. Like it's never at the forefront of their, you know, sales process, right?
So they just have to put it in a package.
Yeah. How do you do that? How do we present the package?
So I use the 1st or 31st, obviously, when I'm calling out, but I don't care how you're getting the people to want to buy. When you explain to them the insurance, right? Everybody on this call, I know that you're creating a need. You're talking to somebody, they want to purchase something or they wanted to purchase something. First thing you got to do is get them on the phone, okay? Second thing you got to do is get them to give you some time of day and some respect. And then you have to recreate the need that led them to create the lead, right? So you recreate that need, and you're talking to them. If it's health insurance, you talk to them about that health insurance. but you talk to them about the gaps and the holes in the health insurance, and that there's this huge deductible and there's co-insurance, but we have solutions for those. We'll make sure that we throw in here a trigger that if you have a heart attack, stroke, cancer, or of any of these, that will give you the money that you need to pay this deductible. Also, accidents are a lot of times people have to pay the deductible, and you go into that. And that, don't worry, we'll throw in a trigger over here. I'm going to build you a comprehensive program. I'm going to give you a total protection package. I'm going to give you a bundle that is as close to bumper as you can get. And if I do my job right, you might have a no-cost deductible when you have a heart attack, stroke, cancer. And half of all men, half of all women get cancer in their life. So I actually build the package with those two products already in them. And then when I go over it at the end, I go over the health insurance, I go over the accident, then I go over the critical. So they have, and this is what happens, this is how it all works. Now they're through 3 separate companies because I couldn't go to one to give you the best of all worlds. It's not the way I work. There's some agents that could do that for you. They can save you time, and maybe they can save you a couple bucks. But at the end of the day, you're getting less benefit out of it. I'm giving you more. So it's a better way to sell to your clients. It's a better way to have more persistency and more business on the books. And I do a lot of trainings on bundling. I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, Carlos, I'm going to email something to you right now that maybe you could, or if you want me to just give me control, I want to show you how far I go on my bundling.
Yeah, you can. I believe you can share your screen. Just click the share screen button.
Let's do this. Let me pull this. Just want to make sure I have it up before I do it. All right, cool. I got that. Let me go ahead and share here, and I'm going to go right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got into the group benefits market when I was about 20 years old. I had an agent by the name of Tim Barlow, who's still kicking butt, writing a lot of business, and still writing for us. Submit over 100 applications for me in one group. And then he went on to write the entire Mississippi Department of Mental Health, all the employees, critical illness insurance. The premiums were well over $500,000 per year. I mean, his commissions were so huge that he took some time off. But he really taught me group sales. And that was like 20 years ago. And if you go to our website, cbsinsurance.net, you'll see I write a lot of articles, and there's a lot of videos about group sales, how to bundle, how to do it so it seems just like you're breathing. Well, not only do I do that on the individual side, but we insure over 120 companies with CBS Insurance. A good friend of mine is the chief operating officer of a very large conglomerate called Maverick Gaming. So we have 55 fast casual restaurants. We have, 30 card rooms. We have probably a dozen casinos, a dozen hotels, bus lines, gas stations, all that. What you're seeing on your screen right now is actually from their benefits package. Each one of these is each one of those little bubbles is a product. So we actually give them in their benefits guide 4 choices, 4 packages. There's a core that has a mech plan in it. There is a, let's see here, the core, the comprehensive, it goes all the way up to comprehensive. A core plan with a mech plan, all the way up to a comprehensive plan with a super low deductible PPO with United Healthcare, right? But the beauty is the client is picking one package, and our smallest package has 6 different products through 6 different carriers. So when I sell to my groups, my cross sell is like 6 point something to 1. 90-something% of my populations buy a package. So I treat them just like I treat an individual sale. I actually go out and do a lot of these presentations in front of these groups going over, this is your new year, these are your new benefit plans, yada, 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 when I'm not on the road talking about product. So we go into it in detail, and I'll show you, let's see here. This is the benefit guide that we put together, all of that. So any of you that are interested in selling group benefits or anything like that, I can help you. I can help you with something as small as this. Look at this PowerPoint. This is what I call a capabilities PowerPoint. When you're giving a presentation to a group client or even an individual client, you can always have a capabilities document that shows who you are, who's there, what you do, shows them then a brochure of the product, the premium amount, and, an easy way to enroll. But, so that's for the group world if you want to add it in there. But when it comes to the individual world, which I believe, 90-something% of us are, the key to bundling is doing it all up front. If you just sell them health insurance and then at the end of the conversation talk to them about critical illness, like, oh, I sold you the health insurance, the big thing, the awesome thing, and I also have this plan that pays you, and then you try to do accident, and I also have this plan that pays you. It doesn't work. You won't it at all. It stinks, to be quite honest with you. You want to give them a package sale, and if you give them that package sale, it's just going to provide them with so much better coverage.
What they say is that you got to offer it all up front, and if they need to peel back the onion layers, they can. It's easier to do that instead of trying to put the onion layers back on. That doesn't make any sense.
And I tell people when I do this is JR, I don't know if I'm the first or 31st, I'm the best.
I do it all the time. I train on that too.
And I love doing that. And then I say, you know what, okay. And I do the bread and butter, are you an individual, or are you a family? Sometimes I'm like, are you happy? Or are you married? I like to mess around with it. I like to, and people will laugh sometimes right after that one. It's like, listen, what kind of plan do you want? What kind of deductible do you want? Okay. And, as soon as I have that information, I'm formulating in my mind, where I'm going for that medical. Are they telling me, am I hearing from them? Am I uncovering that they need short-term medical on exchange, off exchange? But no matter what, Carlos, I know that they need a critical illness plan. I know that no matter what, half of all men will get cancer. Half of all women will get cancer. Every 45 to 60 seconds, there's a heart attack or a stroke. I know for a fact they need critical illness insurance. And then accidents. Everybody has accidents. People slip and fall. Shit happens. I know they need accident insurance too. So all I'm uncovering is what kind of medical insurance I'm going to give them. And I'm automatically going to throw on an additional $60 to $80 for the two ancillary plans. Maybe $100, depending on where they're going, what their budget is, and where I'm taking them from.
Tell us again the name of the critical illness plan that you're selling, folks, and why that one as opposed to anybody else's.
Thank you, sir. So it took us a long time to choose another carrier. And when we finally did, we chose Occidental because they're part of the American Amicable Group of companies. They've been around since the early 1900s. The company's in Waco, Texas. If you watch Fixer Upper, it's the big building, ALICO, right at the beginning credits. So they house that entire building. They employ a very large population in Waco, Texas. All the decision makers are there, and most of the people have worked for the company their entire lives, right out of college, right out of high school. Additionally, it's owned by Industrial Alliance, and that's a Canadian company that's worth about $150 billion with a B. So we wanted a cool company where the decisions could be made at one office that had parents that had a lot of deep pockets. So we built the Critical Life Solutions Plan, the CLS, you might know it as the CLB, Critical Life Benefits. And the reason we built this plan, it's life insurance, it's critical illness insurance, and then there's a couple riders at no additional cost that are included in it. We wanted to make the Rolls Royce of critical illness plans, but still have it available for as little as, $20-25 a month. So it has all the things you'd expect from a critical illness plan. It has the life insurance to make sure they have something when they pass away, to make sure the business is persistent, to make sure it can't be canceled, and to make sure the rates are locked. On our Occidental critical illness plan, the rates are guaranteed, locked in for 10 years. And at the end of that, they're guaranteed for another 10. Keep doing that all the way up to age 60, I believe. So, and then it has 2 riders on it. One is a confined care rider, and one is a chronic illness rider. And so there's so many triggers on that plan to get a payment. And on top of all this, it's guaranteed convertible to whole life. So, you know, even when they're in the worst of health, you know, and they want to convert that whole life plan, they can. And these are all guarantees. So that's why we chose that company, and that's the plan we put together. And we put the plan together to make it the best plan for you and your client. It's a huge commission payment to you, and there's advances. It pays every day. But at the end of the day, it's going to pay your clients when they need the money the most.
When I was thinking, a lot of people don't do the critical illness because they're afraid of underwriting. Like they don't want to like waste their time with the application, and then it gets knocked down in underwriting. You know, like how are they with that? Guaranteed.
Fantastic. It's a simplified issue, but here are the 3 things that you want to know. 3 key things. If they haven't had a critical illness in their lifetime, if they're a non-insulin dependent diabetic, and they've never been diagnosed with, you know, HIV, AIDS, ARC, and they're not in the height and weight guideline. Those are the real 3 things. If they're, excuse me, I'll say them again. I kind of got that mixed up. So the 3 things that you want to know when you submit an application for Occidental, and if it's going to be issued or not, as long as they're in the height and weight guideline, as long as they have not had a critical illness in their lifetime, and as long as they're a non-insulin dependent diabetic, the odds of it getting issued are 90-something%.
And when will I get paid?
The next day.
Literally the next day.
Literally the next day.
The application gets approved and there's a money deposit into the check.
Yes, sir. And we pay every single day of the week.
Why do some folks pay out like 2 or 3 weeks later? How can you guys pay?
Maybe they want to make money on the hold.
Weird. It's weird.
You know, I mean, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, it pays every day of the week. We issue a lot of it, and our office will help you. We'll walk you through the applications. We'll walk you through everything that you need. I think a lot of reason maybe agents don't sell it is because of misconceptions. I've heard a lot of agents say, well, it only has a rate guarantee of 5 years. No, ours is a 10-year rate guarantee.
Is that a standard, or is that not the standard?
It goes all over the place. Yeah. But like the Nat Gen product is a 5-year rate guarantee. Ours is a 10, and then it's guaranteed renewable at that next rate every 10 years. So I think that's one of the misconceptions, that underwriting might be hard. Maybe they think the application process is hard, but that's
what I was going to ask. How long is the application process for?
Once you're proficient in it, 5-6 minutes. I mean, it's so easy.
Is it systems easy to use?
Dude, I write the product to my friends and family. When my buddies want term insurance, I write them the term made simple, 75% of their request, and I'll write the CLS for the other 25%. Meaning this, if one of my clients wants $400,000 in life insurance, and after we go through everything, it's term is where we're going, I will sell him $300,000 worth of the term made simple, and I'll sell him $100,000 of the CLS. Or, you know, I always do a combo where they're getting some living life insurance as well to help pay the premiums on that other life insurance.
For those of us who are on the webinar right now, go ahead and ask some questions. You guys are probably more proficient in the critical life insurance than I am. So if you guys have questions about the product, you know, feel free to ask. I was going to say something else, JR. Give me 1 second.
No worries.
I just lost my
on the screen is agent resources.
Yeah.
So articles, if you want to go on there, ladies and gentlemen, and read some articles. Leo has great articles that he's written. I have some in here, cross-selling. Obviously, you know, a good article to read and how to do it in an easy way. And then we also have the videos. So I really, really, really suggest going into a video library everybody's got a little bit of time right now. And simply going down here, and you'll see videos like the video "Don't Check the Box" tells you why you shouldn't check the box, why you should sell accidental critical illness, value benefits of America for accident, and then choose a health company for their health products. So, why partner with us? Sustainable growth, decades of trust. Don't check the box. So we got some really cool videos on here that we're constantly updating. Product trainings, all that kind of stuff as well.
What's the lowest amount of critical illness we can offer a client to the max?
So up to critical illness, you can do 100,000.
100,000. Okay.
And on the term made simple, you could do up to 400,000.
Okay.
So the total amount, if you were going to split it, you'd do up to 400K.
Here's a question. Since the COVID-19 is a pandemic flu, so it is not a critical illness for a claim, right?
That is correct. It's not a critical illness. Now, there is a terminal illness rider. So if your client has this and they're terminally ill, their doctor's like, dude, they're not expected to recover. They will die. And obviously in the next 12 months, then the critical illness plan would pay out under the terminal illness rider.
Are the benefits like halved on something like that?
Well, with us, it's 100% of the benefit on that. Yeah, and so let's go back. If one of your clients has one of the Colorado Bankers life plans, because they're paying all claims on that, if they have that plan, if they're expected to die in the next 12 months because of COVID, the plan would pay out the full face amount up front.
Wow. One of the biggest things that I've noticed is that a lot of the accident policies out there, they're capped at $5,000-$10,000 in benefit, right? Tell us more about this VBA accident policy. Why everybody should be selling that thing?
It's awesome. I own it on my own family. That's how much trust I have in it. The free benefits are amazing. There's discounts on dental, vision, hearing, prescriptions, all that kind of stuff. But the accident coverage is amazing. From $2,000 in coverage all the way up to $25,000 in coverage. It's per occurrence, per accident. So if they have an accident and the benefit claim amount is $25,000, they're going to get that minus the deductible on that plan. If they have another one the next week, the next month, it's per occurrence, per accident, and it's not a scheduled benefit plan.
If you got a $25,000 benefit accident policy, that must mean you have a $5,000 deductible or something like that.
Well, if you have a $25,000, that's for people. A lot of people that have that one don't have any medical insurance at all. They're buying that $25,000 because accident happens. They want to have some cash to negotiate.
So, but can you lower that deductible amount?
What do you mean, the benefit amount? Yeah,
no, the deductible amount. No, like let's say you have a $25,000 benefit, but
right.
but we're responsible for the first $500 or $1,000, right? So does the $25,000 benefit come with like a $500 deductible or a $0 deductible?
Yeah, our deductibles start at I think 25 and go up to 250 for our
really? $25 to 250?
Yeah, 25 to 250. Okay. So, and that's per occurrence. So, but if they have a medical plan and let's say their deductible is $10,000 and they have a bill and that bill is $10,000, they're going to get a reimbursement of $10,000 minus, maybe it's $150 deductible or $250 deductible. They're not going to make money with the plan. This is only going to cover stuff that's not covered by the medical insurance.
Right. Here's some other questions. If a person is recovered from COVID-19, what will be the look back period for underwriting, or is it an auto knockout?
It's a good question. It shouldn't be an auto knockout at all. I'll have to get back to Lynn on that, and I will send an email right now and get that question answered. One fantastic question. Let me get the answer to that.
And then we have the other question from Brian. It says, is there an aggregate amount?
Can you explain that in a little bit more detail?
If you want to chime in and explain a little bit, we can answer that question for you. there an aggregate amount to the accident policy?
I mean,
No, it's just it's just a benefit per incident, right? Per term.
yeah, correct. Per accident. So
Per
you
accident.
slip and fall and you hurt. It's not scheduled. So it's whatever happens is going to be covered. You slip and fall and you hurt yourself and you have a plan that's $7,500 and all of those bills at the doctor add up to be $8,000. Then this is going to cover that $7,500. It's not going to, what I mean by scheduled, it doesn't pay like $37 for this and $42 for a broken finger and $18. Our plan just pays the full amount towards the bill that you receive. And
it's just send in the bills with the claims form and they process it and give you a big fat check, right?
Absolutely. And again, this is per occurrence, per accident, per occurrence. There is no limitation to the number of accidents that you can have, and there is no limitations to the time that it will pay out. I agree, Judy, some people fall a lot. I've broken my ankles 5 times, so totally know where you're coming from.
How did you break your ankle, man? I broke it one time. It was
I used to run a lot. I used to run a lot of miles per day, and then over the years, my ankles just got weak, and then they just started popping when I was in my mid-20s.
That stinks, man.
Yeah, it totally sucks.
The accident policy, it also comes with something very special that we didn't talk about, and it's the telemedicine service. Tell us about that, man. I mean,
so MD hotline, telemedicine, totally cool. If you've used telemedicine, you use it again because it's such a great benefit. We use it in our family as kind of our primary care doctor at this point. With our MD hotline, you can get treated. You can call in. They can treat you, diagnose you, and call in a script to your local pharmacy. And ours is on normal, it's like 40 minutes from start to finish when we're done with everything. So it's very, very, very quick. I use it for myself. I put it in all these employer groups, obviously. And then I recommend everyone giving it to, sorry, my dog's starting to get a little grouchy. I'm going to have to close the door. I recommend selling it to everyone. Obviously, the VBA has it. Ours is through MD Hotline. It's unlimited, so you can use it as much as you want, and there is no cost. There is no copay or anything. And ours is not only telephonic, but it's video. So if you want to do a video chat with the doctor, if they can't help you, they'll find a specialist in your area. They'll make an appointment for you, and then they'll call you up to let you know a day before the appointment and call you up a day after the appointment to see how it went. If you just do the telemedicine or video medicine, within an hour, you'll have a typed report of your doctor visit in your email address.
Oh, nice. Type report. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
So
Sick.
For all you guys that are out there that are, come across a client that, just doesn't want to take the insurance, maybe it's just costing too much money, you got an easy solution. Like, accidents are going to happen. It's not, if it's going to happen, they happen all the time. It's when it's going to happen, right? Get them this VBA accident policy, cover them for the accidents, but also give them that telemedicine service. Like JR said, you can use it as your primary care physician. I've used it a bunch of times for my kids, man. It works fantastic. And it's really that simple. It's like a phone call. You make a phone call, you talk to maybe, somebody at MD Hotline. They're going to say, get some information. They say, okay, stick by your phone. Doctor's going to call you in about 15, 20, 30 minutes. Doctor calls you from who knows where. You tell them what you got going on. They might ask you, turn on your video camera. Let's take a look at that little rash or something. And they're sending your scripts to the nearest pharmacy. It's fantastic. And you don't have to pay anything for it. How much money can people save doing that?
JR?
Man, the savings on that alone are, if you have an
Somebody's got a question for you.
How much do you, I can't talk about auto accident claims, unfortunately. Our office can discuss P&C. I'm just not that well versed in it. But time and money, man. Right now, you can't even go to the doctor. You don't want to go to the doctor. So telemedicine to me is just a fantastic feature. If you haven't used it, use it. I mean, that's all I can say, really.
I think Kathy has a question for you, JR. Kathy, you there?
Yeah. JR, you mentioned you put the telemedicine with your group plans, but doesn't the group plans usually come with the telemedicine?
Well, what I'm saying is I put the plans together with whether it's a self-funded plan or whether it's a regular group plan, and we always put telemedicine in those groups.
So oftentimes, Kathy, these group plans that are large group employers, you can like mix and match it the way you want it, right? Okay. And JR has these.
We architect the plan. So we find a stop loss carrier. Let's say we're doing a self-insured. We actually architect the plan, everything that we want into it. We find the stop loss carriers, all that kind of stuff, and then you add in all the benefits. And you're absolutely right. With medical, it's a lot of the times it's in there. And like I say, I always make sure when I'm architecting a group plan or an individual plan, I make sure telemedicine is in there. So auto accident claims and accident. So obviously you're not going to make money on this plan. So if the auto accident is covering it, it's not going to be paid for again by VBA. Whatever's not covered, it will cover whatever's not covered.
So Jordan, in clients recently, I had a clients on certain policies. She automatically contacted me to have a medical visit and so forth. There's a certain medical bill is not covered. I did connect her with a attorney. It's just coming down to how I'm better direct them in terms of have them go with the auto part first or in between, kind of in the pickle.
Did they have an accident plan or they did not have an accident plan?
They have accident plan as well as medical plan.
Okay. And the accident plan is not picking up the portion that the auto isn't covering?
No, right now it's still in process. I seen the medical plan have a big portion is not covered. Yeah, since I'm not familiar with when we cross the boundaries, the clients also have auto car insurance. There are certain coverage as well. So how to better direct them? Yeah.
Lynn, I can tell you this, Lynn, that if it was due to an auto accident and they're supposed to pay, the accident policies aren't going to get involved. They're not going to pay, right? So or at least they're not going to pay until everything is processed on the auto insurance side. Like they're not going to get involved until everything's said and done on the auto insurance side. If there's some residual or leftover that the auto accident insurance didn't pay, the auto insurance didn't pay, maybe you can send it over to the accident policy, but I doubt it.
Right. That's what I gathered from the attorney's perspective. The attorney did allude a different state has a different liability. I think Missouri is different to Illinois as well. But at the meantime, obviously, if the client's having a short-term or fixed benefit, they have to fork out the cost when they seeking care before everything is settled.
Well, with our VBA plan, you can assign benefits to a provider. So if that provider will accept that, assigning benefits, again, we're speaking on our VBA plan on a covered claim. Your situation, again, is different.
Sure.
But with VBA, you can actually assign benefits to the provider.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So JR, we're at this hour, right? And you're super expensive. We want to like get so any last words for people that are, interested in jumping into the critical illness space or accident space?
Email me, please. jr@cbsinsurance.net. Really easy. The letter J, the letter R, at CBS, Charlie Boy Sam, insurance, spelled out, .net. I will help you. I will help you sell your first one, or if you're selling a whole bunch and want to learn how to sell more, or if you want to start recruiting, whatever it may be, I will help. I can connect you with people that have been doing this, that know they can put you on their teams. I can help you create teams, whatever it may be. Let me assist.
If you had a football team what kind of mascot would it be?
Wow. Wow. You know what? It would be of an average Joe pushing a boulder up a hill.
That's it. There you
Yep.
go. There you
Because
go.
I think a lot of us, our life is great and all that, but every morning we wake up and that boulder's there every morning, and we got to lift it up every single morning. And if we don't, then bad things happen. So that's definitely the logo.
Somebody once said that stuff happens, right? And it's not a setback, it's a setup.
Yeah.
Right? Like this COVID thing going on right now. It's setting us up to do bigger and better things.
Oh, I totally agree. Absolutely. As far as sports, we cover some sports. Lynn, the best thing to do is email me directly, and I'll email you, and we can go over these things.
Cool. Well, JR, man,
Thank you.
we appreciate your time once again, man.
Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it.
Don't get too crazy out there, man. Be safe, and man, we'll contact you whenever we need you again, man.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'm honored to be a part of this. This was so cool. So thank you all very much.
The feeling is mutual, brother. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.